Aloha! It's been more than a year since my last video and this cancer survival adventure I've been having, and I want to fill you in on what's been going on inside and outside in my life. The last video, I'm not going to assume that you've seen it, but it basically covered what happened after my second surgery and the fact that it was a very close call in terms of me being able to stay alive. And since then, I've been doing a lot of recovery work. I have gone through tremendous pain, quite honestly, and especially after the surgery. It took a long time to really get beyond the pain to the place that I could actually start to function again. But in the meanwhile, it was pretty intense. And at one point, I got down to 119 pounds, and now I'm up to about 130. I've rejoined the athletic club, and it's a block from the house. I can walk there, and I can walk on the beach, and walk on the path by the beach, rather. And I've walked as much as 5 miles at a time, and I'm overall feeling pretty good. So the progress of the disease has been very minor, but it still has to be dealt with. In July, the scans that I did, the PET scan and the MRI and the CT, showed something going on in the R11 and L11 lymph nodes, which are the lymph nodes, the hilar lymph nodes, right off the bronchial tubes into the lungs. And had a biopsy done, and it showed there was about an 8 millimeter cluster of undifferentiated cells, which means it wasn't actually a tumor, just a cluster of cells. But it was enough to be alarming, concerning at least. And so the drug of choice, well, not really the drug I wanted to take, but the drug that was available at the time was called Sutent, which is a drug with really high, intense side effects, severe fatigue, and that's just the beginning of the side effects, explosive diarrhea. We won't go any further. So at any rate, I didn't want to start that locally because the side effects could be so severe. So I went back to California, where they did the surgery, and I talked to the medical oncologist who I had seen last year in 2016, and he prescribed the drug and said, okay, we'll get you started on it. And then I'm going to have an appointment with the doctor who had done the surgery to say thank you. And I'm sitting in his office, and he walks in and says, thank you for the thank you, and by the way, I don't think you need the drug. Oh! So he sent for the biopsy slides and went for the tumor board at USC Keck Norris Cancer Center, and they decided that I could do the Sutent if I wanted to, but I really didn't have to. Why don't we just watch it? So in December, did a new scan, and the tumor mass that they found, whatever, even if it is a tumor, that cluster of cells lit up the PET scan a little brighter. I'm still trying to pin down the details of what it is, but at any rate, my oncologist here on the island, rather than putting me in for Sutent, put me in for Opdivo, which is another immunotherapy drug, much milder in effect, and I did the first infusion of that in last Thursday, and I have felt no adverse effects from it so far. There's some things we need to watch, and it affects the thyroid especially, and there might be some some minor fatigue, maybe some aches, muscular aches, but compared to the Sutent, I expect it's going to be mild or maybe non-existent. The key thing is that I have been looking at the fact that it's a persistent disease, and I started at stage 4, close to being dead, and now, if I were to put a stage on it, I'd say I'm at stage 1, if even that. No one's given me a stage number now, but my feeling of it is that I'm basically pretty recovered. I need to watch it, make sure it doesn't go any further than it has gone, and I believe that this new Opdivo drug is going to be the magic bullet, so to speak, and there's good remissions with it, and we'll see, quote unquote, we'll see. But there's something deeper happening here that I want to talk about in this process. The first video that I recorded after the original diagnosis in December of 2015, early 2016, was pretty much a commitment to being a survivor. And I said, I may have cancer, but cancer doesn't have me. And I still maintain that position. The process that I've gone through in the meanwhile has been very, very deep in terms of really facing some unconscious shadowy behavior and unconscious emotions that have been driving me for years, that go back to primal feelings of never being safe, and go back to really very ancient anger and very primal fear. And I've been confronting that over the year, and really in the 2 years that I've been through this process, in the last year especially, I've been confronting it. And I've done a lot of visualization work, and I've done a lot of spiritual practices. One of the things that's happened along the way, for example, was I did a visualization of myself climbing up a mountain and then allowing myself to be transformed into a spirit being. And I became an eagle and flew around, and then I saw myself standing there, and that eagle flew into my heart. Yeah, I can even just when I say it, I can still feel the power of that. And it's interesting because the other thing I've noticed about all this is that when the cancer first showed up, it was really in my pelvic region and my abdominal area, which is pretty much second chakra area. When they did the second surgery, that was really more right here, starting right around this third chakra, the power chakra. And where they're dealing with now is really pretty much right in this area here, which is the heart chakra. And not to be dismissed lightly, the fact that I'm really coming into the heart level to be able to heal myself at the deepest possible level that I possibly can. So this brings me to the deep work that really matters. And yesterday, everything came to a head for me in some very powerful ways. Yesterday was the 13th of January, and you may have heard that here in Hawaii we had a false alarm about a nuclear attack, missiles inbound. Well, the unthinkable in our current world climate is thinkable, and so had about 20 minutes to live. Now, I have faced death 3 times in 2016, and I no longer fear death. But I have to own that yesterday I was afraid. And not so much of dying, being on the other side. I'm ready when that time comes, though I get that it's a long ways away. But I was afraid of being incinerated. And I have connected with the fact that it's important for me to do my inner healing, but it's also important for me to do my worldly healing, that it's not enough just to me to be working on my own process, that it's important for me to be more active in the world. So as a consequence of that, over the last year I've been doing 2 things that really make a difference, at least I believe they do. One is I've been blessed to be working for a charity based in New York that is called RIP Medical Debt, and what they do is they locate, buy, and forgive medical debt. The other thing I've been doing that is really important is I've been working on my book, Making Global Sense, and it's to the point now that it's ready to go back out to publishers again, and as sort of laying the basis for that, I have released the preamble as an ebook called A Parable of Liberty Lost and Found. The book is fiction, for the rest of the book being nonfiction, but those 2 things has been where I've been working with a lot of passion. And I think it is working with passion that almost more than anything else has really helped me recover. And so for those of you who are out there dealing with your disease process or whatever is that trauma in your life that you're dealing with, find your joy in your passion. I really encourage you to do that because it's made such a difference for me. And I don't know what the outer form of it is going to be for you. It might mean that you become an activist. It might mean that you just do things in your local community. It might be finding a child and reading to that child so the child becomes literate. God knows we need more literate people. You might have noticed my t-shirts about books. But find your passion. And don't be stopped by all the outward things in the world that says that you're not big enough, good enough, strong enough to make a difference. And the people who have been there for me over the last 2 years since this process started have been critically important. If you're one of those people, I'm saying thank you, because you've helped keep me alive. You know, your love, your prayers, your support, your social media messages, it's really kept me going. You know, that's it's moved my heart again and again and again. Whether you've been out there one of the ones supporting me, or you're dealing with the kind of stuff I've been dealing with, even in your own way, you're not alone. And there are people out there willing and able to help. But you got to speak up. So be willing to do the inner work and the outer work, and transform yourself and transform our world if you're willing. Because the cancer in me and the cancer in the world, very parallel. And so if we can heal ourselves, we can heal our world, is my belief. And so with that, I'm going to wish you aloha and blessings and thank you. And I'll do another video when there's something worth reporting. Meanwhile, thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, 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 keeping the faith.